Hey guys, it's Alexa Colby, and this is Women, the podcast. In 2016, I started a blog writing to everyday women to love themselves and pursue their purpose in life. Fast forward to 2020, I became insecure in my body and felt I didn't fit the mold of a female entrepreneur. I didn't follow my own advice, and I put all my dreams to the side because I believed my story wasn't enough. 3 years later, I allowed myself to be vulnerable and opened up about this journey and haven't looked back since. This podcast is about creating space for women to share their story of how they got to where they are today, what they did to knock down disbelief, and what they want to tell other women. It's also going to be about entrepreneurship, motherhood, overcoming imposter syndrome, gaining confidence, and believing you are worthy of going for your dreams. You can expect to hear from me each week. We will be sharing stories from women who are authors, entrepreneurs, business owners, mothers, leaders, and everyday women who've done great things, and how you too can build a beautiful life that others will be inspired by. I started this podcast because for many years I believed my story wasn't worth telling and who I am wasn't enough to pursue my purpose of writing. I fell into the lie that the way I looked determined my success, and I was just a girl from a typical town who couldn't do big things. I want to be the person that helps you believe that you are meant for more. The same person I needed so long ago for myself. To be the voice that says you don't need to lose the weight first, you don't need to have a large Instagram following to tell your story, and you have a beautiful gift that this world needs you to use. I hope you're inspired to love and embrace the beautiful woman God created you to be. Welcome to Women. All right. Hey, Felesha. Welcome to Women.
Hey, Alexa, how are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks
Good,
so much
good.
for having me.
I am so excited to have you. Ever since we met, I think it was a couple months ago. Was it in April or May timeframe? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was
Um,
probably May-ish.
yeah, because I know like my one reel, that's what attracted a lot of people and whatnot. I think that was the reel that attracted you to my page, but
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that was in the end of
The
March. But anyway,
sourdough.
yeah, but I'm so excited to have you on and just get to know you do so much that I didn't even know until you told me about it, and then I like went and creeped and looked all at it, not creep, but you know what I mean, checked it all out, and I'm just excited to get to know to how you got to where you're at today. So, we'll start off with just tell us about Felesha.
So I am Felesha Bell. I am a 46-year-old mama and wife. I have been married, will it be 12 years in a couple weeks here.
Aw.
And yes, 12 years. And I think that's right. Yeah. My husband would kill me. He always does better with it than I am. And then we have a son, Jackson, who's turning 5 2 days after our anniversary.
Aw. So you
Yes.
got September's a pretty busy month then?
Oh, yes.
A fun month.
Absolutely. So many family members actually have birthdays in September in my husband's side. So it's a fun month.
Oh, that's awesome. And I feel like it's always within a family, there's always 1 month that's just jam-packed with so
Yeah.
many birthdays.
Yes.
So your son's 5?
Yes, he
So you're
is 5.
busy.
Oh boy. And he's a busy 5. Like, some 5-year-olds aren't like super active, but this guy from sun up to sundown, like, and he doesn't like napping anymore. So, I mean, he's just a ball of energy
Oh my gosh.
all day
My
long.
daughter's not even 2 yet, and she's like, "Maybe I'll nap today." And I'm like, "Oh, no." So I can
You're
only
gonna nap. I get it.
That's
We need that
awesome.
time.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so, and then you do have a full-time job, right?
I do. Yes. I have been in the healthcare industry for over 20 years. So I have my own territory where I cover the entire state of Michigan, just sharing with geriatrics how we can help them in the home. So,
Okay.
yep, been doing that for a while. And then I also have a food blog.
Which is the fun part.
What
Love
right,
it.
which keeps me super busy too, trying to manage that in social media. And it's got like a little kitchen boutique, and it's
Yeah.
just a whole running train that is, a second, part-time second job. So
Yeah. So have you been with the same company then for your full-time job for the 20 years?
no, 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 no. I've kind of
No?
hopped around, but I've been here. It'll be 3 years in December, and I really love it. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
great.
And you said you travel all over Michigan, so like that means
Yes.
literally all over Michigan?
Yeah, everywhere south of Midland. So, and
Okay.
spanning from west to east. So,
Okay,
yeah.
so not like Mackinac.
No, no, no. Oh, thank God. Although it's pretty up there, but I don't
Yeah.
want to be driving there consistently.
Oh, we just went up there a few weeks ago to Mackinac, and once you get to that, I mean, it's a nice drive once you get to that 2-lane highway, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah,
But,
yeah.
oh gosh, it's just trees, and you're like, "Am I ever gonna make it?"
I know, right? Yes. I get it.
Alright, so we're let's get down to the meat and cheese,
Okay.
the blog.
Yes.
When did you start the blog?
So it would have been March of 2015.
Mm.
March of 2015. Yeah. So it's been a while. I never thought that it would be going strong this long, but I just loved what it's developed into. But yeah, March of 2015 is when I started.
That's awesome. What made you wanna start the blog?
Well, I had some challenges, which we're going to chat about today, and it was a way of encouraging me, just kind of documenting my journey to motherhood.
Yeah,
Um, it was my outlet for it, so it was very helpful and instrumental with that.
yeah. So do you wanna
And
talk
I've
about
always,
that?
yeah, and I've always enjoyed cooking, and I've always had friends that said, "Oh, this is so great," and so I was just able to combine food and faith in a blog. So
Okay, so it's always been a food blog then?
yes, it's always been a food blog and encouragement. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So have you been cooking then your whole life and
I did not grow up loving to cook. Like, I did not want to be in the kitchen with mama. Like, she would make me grate cheese and all that kind of stuff, but I was always dragging, like I never wanted to do it. But what happened was I finally got my own apartment, grown, and I decided, you know what? I think I'm gonna have people over for Thanksgiving. What? And I'm like, it was just so bizarre that I said I wanted to do this. And so, mama gave me her recipes. I wrote them down, and I said, I'm just going to try this. And I tried it by myself, and everybody loved it and was patting me on the back on how great it was. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm getting this kind of reaction from cooking. Like, that's amazing. And I just love the reactions ever since then that I get when somebody has a real good meal that I
yeah,
prepared. So that's kind of where it came from. That's where the cooking journey started,
that's
all alone
awesome.
in my apartment kitchen.
It's funny when you get on your own, you're like, "Oh gosh, I gotta figure this out." 'Cause
Right.
when you're in college, you can't afford to eat out. So it's
Right,
like,
exactly. Eating all that dorm food. Yeah,
I
yeah.
know. That's awesome. That's awesome. And that just like I think I know what you're talking about, like, when people say, like, "Oh, that was so good," like, that gives you some sorta, like, good high, you know?
It
Like, you're like,
does.
"Oh,
It
yeah,
does.
pat on my back."
Yeah. I'm glad you got a happy belly, is how I always say.
I did
Yeah.
that. I did that.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so you started the blog, and were you just sharing recipes on there? You said recipes and, like, food and motherhood?
Well, it was food and faith. So
Food and faith.
how what happened was, so I've always wanted to be a mother.
Mhm.
Just from the time when you're a little girl and always dreaming of that thing. And um my husband and I got married, and we decided, we would wait a few years and just kind of enjoy one another and enjoy marriage. And then, it was time to start. It's time to start working on a baby. And so we started, and, nothing happened. And it was just so disappointing that we were actually experiencing this. So, I mean, of course, got in front of doctors just to kind of do all the workup. They want to do all this testing and everything. And of course, they always say, well, you're older. I mean, and at that point, so I let's see, that was so I would have been like right around 38ish. And so at 38ish, it's like, okay, this is a geriatric pregnancy. That's how they kind of treat you. Like you're in the advanced maternal age group of people.
Yeah.
So this is going to be even more difficult, for you, kind of thing. And they, of course, they're not in faith or what have you, and they're just kind of giving you, the facts that they know and have been taught. But we know, as born again Christians, we know the truth and what the Word of God says. But anyway, they did all the whole workup, and they, decided that, or had found that I had these fibroids, a couple fibroids that, were part of the reason that I was having difficulties. And so, we sought the Lord about what we were going to do about those, because of course they said, look, we can go in and kind of take care of those. And so we prayed, and we had peace about moving forward with the laparoscopic surgery. They were in and out. It was super simple, and it was a successful procedure. And so then after that, we we got pregnant. I want to say maybe a few months after that surgery.
Wow. Yeah.
And super excited. First positive pregnancy test. And it was time to go in and do the 8-week ultrasound. And it actually happened to be on the same day that I was planning a dinner party for work for all of these gals that I call on every single day. I was at a different job, of course. And I was planning to have them to my home for like a Christmas holiday dinner. And so I was preparing, short ribs and, green beans, and just doing this whole, so I said, I'm in the middle of cooking. It's like, okay, it's time to go get the ultrasound done. So my husband and I go all excited. We go in, and the tech, does what she does, and her face drops. And we're looking like, what? And she's like, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but there is no heartbeat. It was just devastating. Just devastating, because I mean, we never even, I just thought, you have a miscarriage, you start bleeding,
Right. Yeah.
the baby doesn't work. That's what my thoughts were around it. I had no idea what a miscarriage was. And so they educated me on what that means. It's just the body has not released the fetus at that point, just kind of hanging on. And so after getting this news, of course, I'm devastated, crying, 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 crying. But yet I've got to go home and finish making dinner for like these 12 women that are coming to my house.
Yeah.
It was just, like a horrific point in time for me. As my husband's like, are you going to cancel? I'm like, no, I can't cancel. I've been planning this forever, and I don't want people to know. Like, I didn't want to go into all of that. So, I just put on my happy face and did dinner. And, they still had a great time and never knew, what had happened, which
Yeah.
I ended up sharing with them later. And so I think it was so weird, because I was asking the doctor, so what's going to happen? When's the baby just going to pass? Like, I'm still pregnant, but there's no heartbeat. And so I think it must have been 3 or 4 weeks later that I just so happened to be at the doctor's office, and was able to pass the baby right there in the doctor's office. So it was good timing for me, with how I'm so thankful to the Lord that how that actually transpired, where I wasn't on the road and all of that kind of stuff. So I was
Right.
grateful for that part. And so that was that year. And so we decided, we'll keep trying, God is going to see us through. And we kept trying, and of course lots of workups and everything, just so much testing. And so I I can't remember if it was, I think it was maybe a year and a half later, we got pregnant again. And this was after so many fertility treatments, with the IUI and the turkey
Mhm.
baster thing, and washing the sperm, and it was just so invasive as we're trying to. But so did all that, and we ended up not through IUI, but we got pregnant again naturally. And of course, at this point, I hate to say I had, wasn't quite sure, um, didn't really know, can I be happy about this? Because you've gone through that first, miscarriage.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening, like I kept going in and they kept saying, well, we see, I can't remember what they call it at that point. We don't see the kind of growth that we need to kind of see at this point. Like I was going in like, every week, and they pull your numbers to kind of see if those hormones are going up the way they should. And turns out the it was at this point I didn't know. No, maybe we did. They were like, there's two, like, I don't know how to explain it, like two almost sacks that were like connected to one another. So it was like kind of indicating twins.
Hmm.
And but there was no growth. They did not see the growth that we needed to see. So again, here I am, pregnant with no viable embryos. And so at this point I was like, I don't know if I could do this again with just trying to see when we're going to pass these babies. So sought the Lord about how to handle it, and we went in a few more times just to make sure um that they were not viable and there was no growth or blood flow, and we found out that there was not. And so I was at peace with going ahead and doing the DNC with the doctor.
Mhm.
So did that procedure, so that I could kind of just move on
Yeah.
um, from that. And so again, still never losing up hope. Like, I mean, I just feel like so many, and I could have even just said, you know what, just forget this. This is just too heartbreaking. It's just too much to endure. Like, you have these people telling you, well, you're old, your eggs are fried, and all of this other kind of thing. And so you have these outside sources, but I kept holding on to God's promises that He would fulfill my desire to become a mother. And so at this point, I just kind of just almost just let it totally go, with without trying to lose, because I wanted to make sure that my body was in the perfect condition and a good health to
Yeah.
carry a baby. So, I still did things to make sure, like taking, vitamins, and just making sure that I was eating great food, healthy food. And that was another thing that I did in my blog. I started incorporating recipes that, would give life to the body. And that was very helpful during that time, because I, you know just being a healthier me.
Mhm.
And then, I had so many people, reaching out, or you should try this, or you should try that. I had a walking buddy that would walk with me, and she said, you know what, I've been going to a chiropractor, and I just think that you might just try him. Like, he's just helped me to have optimal health. My body's in the best condition. Because I kind of think of chiropractic back then as, oh, somebody's just cracking your back, and you know putting all this strain and hurting you, and kind of thing. I had no idea that it was actually tied to the core of our bodies, and that because blood flow, and just everything in your spine, and just making sure that everything is powered in your body. I found this out after having seen the chiropractic that I was going to see, and he was great. And the first time I went to him, I got super, like, I was ill, and I was like, "What's going on? I've come to you, 2 times, and I'm ill now. What's?" He's like, "Oh no, that's great. that means the body's getting rid of all that gunk. And I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that, And so I'm seeing him 3 days a week. And, it was super comforting just to be able to chat with him about, being in optimal health. And he always says power's on once you get off the table, just means that your body's in optimal health because everything's all kind of worked out and you don't have those subluxations and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I did miss a part. So when he did his first workup with me, he said, he did the x-rays and everything. He said, you've been in an accident or maybe two. I'm going, what? I don't know what you're talking about. And I had to go all the way back to, college days and younger years. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And even high school. I'm like, yes, you're right. I did have two, really bad accidents. And
Wow.
he's like, I can see it in these x-rays. I'm like, oh my gosh, you can after all these years? He's like, yes, you have your back is like majorly subluxated or however they say that. And so, he worked with me for like a couple months. I was going to see him 3 days a week.
Wow.
And lo and behold, praise God, like 2 months I started seeing him on my birthday, October 20 that would have been 2017. Yeah. And lo and behold, and I remember because I'm doing all my temperature checking and all of that still, just to
Mm-hmm.
make sure when you're obvious, because I had no idea. I didn't know you can only get pregnant like, 5 days out of every month. Like, nobody really tells you this stuff, you just
No.
think, okay, you have sex, you just get pregnant.
Yep. I
So I'm
know.
doing all this temperature checking and everything. And so I knew exactly when I ovulated every month. And so here comes, I know it was my dad's, but it's so funny to say this. So my dad's birthday, December 22nd, that would have been 2017. So almost 2 months to the day from when I started going, we found out we were pregnant again. So
That's
this is the
awesome.
third pregnancy. My dad's always like, don't tell that story. I don't want to know that you conceived on my birthday or whatever. I'm like, I know because I know because that's the day I ovulated. That's funny. And so it's just like TMI, Felicia. But anyway, so I didn't want to, but I didn't tell him this until after, of course, we shared that we were pregnant.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to tell anybody because of what we had been through. I was just like, let's just get through this period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but then I said, you know what? No, I need them to help lift my arms and help pray for me during this period since we found. So we went ahead and we revealed to them I think it was that next January. So it would have been January of 2018, where I said, I'm gonna get a cake this time. So I got a cake and it said we're pregnant. We took them out to dinner and we told everybody, but I wasn't at the point where I was like, I'm going to tell them this because I need, them to help me through this. But I still wasn't ready. I still wasn't ready just because of everything that we had been through. I was just kind of thinking, and then I would go to the bathroom. I was like, oh my goodness, I pray this is not going to be the time. Like,
Yeah.
and praise God, my mom, for some reason, my husband couldn't go with me to the ultrasound, that first ultrasound that we went to. And my mom went with me, and, we were praying and everything in the waiting room before we go back. And they put me on the table and everything. And it's the same ultrasound tech that I had with the first miscarriage. And she's like, okay. So she goes in to look and she just starts like crying. She's like, here's the heartbeat.
Oh.
She's like, what? And there's a little wiggle. So, I mean, we're so loud in this room. I know the people outside of this room are like, what is going on in there? We're like having a praise party.
That's awesome.
A whole praise party. So that was, I want to say that was, I guess, maybe into February sometime. And, I was able to share with everybody
Yeah.
And we actually had the whole church praying for us too, because there was something that happened where our pastor called people down that were pregnant, and I was in the midst of, I feel like, oh, I think that was the second pregnancy. Yeah, that must have been, because that was like a long waiting period, waiting for the embryos to kind of do something. And
Yeah.
so he called me forward, and they prayed and everything, and so everybody knew I was pregnant. Then I had to go and tell everybody that we had miscarried, like the whole church, because the whole church knew. I was like, okay, Lord, why did this happen this way? It's like, this is just too much. But
Yeah.
after then, we just really had the whole church in our corner, just standing in faith with us that this was going to happen as well. So I am
Wow.
grateful for that. And so yeah, so that would have been, had the ultrasound, and then Jackson was born. Of course, they had to see me, I feel like, every week, because again, you're advanced maternal age, geriatric pregnancy, let's make sure. And so, I mean, they really, really, really treated me like with kid gloves. But that was a great experience. Still, I'm getting all of that attention, and because I had the laparoscopy. The doctor told
Mhm.
me that you could not deliver naturally, and so I had to kind of let that part go too. Like, okay, Lord, like, why is this happening to me? Like, I always wanted to deliver naturally, and so I just had a peace over, like, okay, this, I am still, just because I'm not delivering naturally does not mean that I'm not going to be a good mama, that I didn't do the right thing, during pregnancy. This is just the way that Jackson is going to come onto the earth. And I just, began to embrace that and accept that. And we went in at, like, I don't know, I think it was like, 1:30, and like Jackson was out like 12 minutes later. That's how fast, they do that. But yeah, it was just, yeah. So we had everybody at the hospitals, godparents and everything, and it was just a great,
Wow.
great, great experience. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
the story.
That was a really touching, beautiful story. I'm serious. Like I was tearing up just to hear of like the hope that you have,
Hmm.
because I feel like people can lose hope so easily. And just like you relying on the Lord to just keep guiding you through it. And what a long journey to becoming a mother. But I
Hmm.
mean, now you got this beautiful baby.
Yeah.
Oh my
God is
gosh.
good. Beautiful,
Was that
active baby. I always say, I always feel like the Lord's like, see, jokes on you. Because I mean, I just never thought that. I mean, you could have a child that's active, and there's been so many people in our lives that are just like, oh my God. Like, even one gal said, even the other day, she was like, oh no, I can't watch him. Like, he is way too. She's like, and she's older, and
yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's harder on the, when somebody's into their 60s and 70s thinking about
Yeah.
taking care of a 5-year-old. So I
Yeah.
get it, but yeah, I was like, oh my goodness, I know he is very active.
Bring him over. I got a farm.
Yes, okay. Oh yeah, you can tire him out. That's right. That's for sure. He would love it.
We'll rest on some goats so I can give him some medicine or something.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, tell me about like when you met your son for the first time.
Oh my goodness. So, of course, because it wasn't natural, he's on the other side of that sheet or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they, kind of have this mirror up. But it was just, I mean, when they brought him over and we just locked eyes, of course, it was just an immediate connection. So I told them, so my husband always makes fun of me, telling me, 'cause I tell the doctors what I was going to do, what I was going to accept, and all. You should have seen all
That's
these
right.
notes I had all over the room. Just, I was
Clap,
like, I was
clap.
my
Yeah.
own advocate, right? And so I told them, I'm like, I don't want the eye goop, you know,
Yeah.
because I want to lock eyes with my son, and everything's all blurry when they have that eye goop. And so I don't know if people don't know, like, they do that to every woman just in case the woman has some kind of thing going on and they want to protect the baby. And I'm going, for one, I'm not delivering vaginally, and for two, I don't have anything going on, so I don't want the eye goop. Okay, I don't want the eye goop. And so I was so grateful that we had that first chance to lock, and he
Yeah.
could, see me as clearly as he could, without having that stuff invading. But yeah, it was just a great experience. We cried, of course, my husband and I. Like, it was just so surreal. Like, he's actually here.
Yeah.
He is actually here. Yes.
That's awesome.
And so my and I'll tell you a little bit about the name. So of course the name of the blog is Say Grace, and we always, because my husband has 3 children beforehand, so we're actually grandparents and all of this other good stuff. That's a
Okay.
whole different
Yeah.
story. But so my husband, started over, and we just thought, he had 3 boys. We just thought for sure this one's got to be a girl. This one's gonna be a girl. I mean, you've had 3 boys. I'm fine with that,
Right.
So, but anyway, the name of the blog was Say Grace, and and if it were a girl, her name was going to be Grace.
Hmm.
And so, when we found out, it was a boy, so we went with Jackson, because first of all, Jackson is a derivative of John, which means, God has been gracious, God has shown favor,
Yeah.
and we decided, and that's what grace means. So that's kind of how we went with Jackson. And
Okay.
actually, my husband's father's name was Jack. So
Nice.
we actually call him Jack too as well. So, but yeah, so that's kind of where the name came from.
That's awesome. I love that. So, was your blog Say Grace blog it was named for like a
Right.
future
It was just
child or
like, as my journey, to kind of, I wanted to have that, the factor in that this is a faith walk,
yeah.
and God did this. If it's going to happen, God did it. It wasn't on, any of my own accord, anything that we did. Um, and so I was so grateful that, we had tried all of that stuff, you know,
Yeah.
and still grateful that we can only give credit and glory to God for Jackson being here because it happened naturally.
Mhm.
We didn't get it with, any help other than, making sure we're living our best healthy life, and which is what he wants us to do anyway. So it happened naturally. And so it was definitely a faith walk for me. And I was happy to be able to incorporate and encourage others. Like, I documented everything, in one blog post or another, what I'm sharing with you on there. So
Aw.
I shared it with them as an encouragement to somebody else that might have been going through the same thing. So it was definitely a faith walk. And I was just able to incorporate, my love of food with it in
Yeah.
addition to that. So, mhm.
That's awesome that you were able like you shared your story with like just your like showing your love of food, you know? I feel like in the blogging world these days, especially if you do like recipe blogs, there's like a certain format that you need to follow and
Right.
like you need to have this many pictures and it's like, no, I just want to like speak my heart and
Exactly,
not
exactly. And so, like, after every post, I would kind of tie it into something that may be going on in someone else's life, whether it be, depression or just worry or fear or angst. I was able to tie for the most part, every single blog post to be an encouragement to
wow.
others.
That is awesome. And that was during 2017, 2018 time frame, or was that
So
2018,
the
2019?
Yeah, so to from the beginning, so like 2015 through, yeah, 20 the beginning of 2018, up
Okay.
until, and I still use it as a form of encouragement
Yeah.
to many as well. Hmm.
Yeah. I was going to say if anybody ever wanted to go back and read those blog posts for encouragement, I mean, that's the time frame and that'd be beautiful. That's awesome. I love
Absolutely.
that. So, all right, so we've had Jackson, we got this Say Grace blog, And so are we just creating recipes, or what about when did you start
Yeah,
your kitchen boutique?
yeah. So that started. I did a little bit of dabbling. Oh, I want to get this right. I want to say it had to be like 2018, like
Okay.
where I started making, my own vanilla extract and that kind of thing. And just started bringing things aboard that were still, connected to faith, and encouragement to other women. And I kind of just dabbled in it just a little bit. And then the Lord just began to continue to stir my heart about, doing more with it. And so started bringing more product on, where I even went to Chicago, and kind of just where you go to the show and kind of you're looking to be a buyer to see what good things are out there,
Yeah.
that are different. So my main thing was I wanted to incorporate things that were unique, handmade, or made locally, or what have you, something different, something that you just can't find. You're not going to go to Amazon and be able to pick out
Mhm.
something that would be unique, to your kitchen. And
Yeah.
so that even, stirred into, because of my love for coffee, like I've just, always, even, I guess, that started in college, where you're spending those nights into the morning studying and everything. So I learned to love a hazelnut cappuccino. And so that was my go-to since college. And even to this day, that's probably still one of my favorite coffee drinks, with hazelnut in it. But so just started thinking about how coffee, not only is it good for you and it helps you to live a long life, which not many people know, but it's also a means of a way that people gather together.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
always like, okay, let's get together. Let's just go have a coffee. We'll just go have a coffee and a croissant or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, so I in my part of my mission, with say grace, is to love, unconditionally, gather with the familiar and unfamiliar, love, gather, feast, and then feast in the natural, and then feast and encourage each other with the word of God. And
Yeah.
so I just thought that it was, a great coming together of two things, kitchen boutique, coffee, and food. And so it's just been stirred in my heart that I would love to be able to, in person, have people come together, not just in the online setting, but, with a brick and mortar, or even with some type of mobile. So right now I am, I went to, I don't know, I think I told you, I went to coffee school
Yeah.
to kind of learn how to run all of that. And now I've been, working on getting a coffee cart built, so that I would be able to do events and things, and be able to gather people, around coffee, and things like that. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, where so with the kitchen boutique, like, how did you even, like, hear about that, get started with that? You know what I mean? Like,
Right. I mean,
when I s
we go ahead.
when I saw on your blog, I was like, "She's got her own boutique, like, this is awesome." Like, I
Right.
wa I
Like,
would I
who
mean,
does that?
I can't well, no, I mean, like, I've heard of people doing something like that, but it's not
Uh-huh.
very common, and
Yeah.
it's just like, you literally got your own, like, kitchen shop, and I'm like, "Does she make all of this?" Like, this is so cool.
No, no, no. So it's this. So you follow people online or what have you, and you kind of see things pop up and ideas and things like that.
Yeah,
And so I realized, there is a space for it. I mean, you have your big box Sur La Table, and Williams Sonoma. And I kept thinking, that's great. They have these wonderful kitchen supplies and everything, but they don't have the gathering part. There's no gathering part. And I just
yeah,
thought this hybrid model would be perfect to incorporate, shopping and food and gathering, and and getting women together to to chat and encourage one another. Right now, with all these technological comforts and things
Mm-hmm.
like that, we've kind of gotten away from gathering um, together in living, breathing color. And I just think that's just such an important aspect that we're missing out on
Yep.
right now where we are. And so I want to
Mm-hmm.
bring that
Yeah.
back. So yeah. Hmm.
It's really important because like hospitality is so it's so important. I just even so I had a death in the family a week ago, and just like the people that have come and just served our family. I mean, even
Amen.
like through times of trials and even through good times, like it's so needed. And we've lost that a little bit since
Mhm.
COVID, especially. And yeah, I love that. I think it's a great way to bring people together. So,
Absolutely. And just to be there as a measure of comfort. I mean, like
mhm.
a hot plate of food isn't going to solve everything, but it certainly solves that belly, making sure that you're nice and full as you're kind of dealing with what you're kind of going through as those challenges. So
Mhm.
I always try to make sure, when I hear of something like that happening, amongst, friends and even the unfamiliar, we like reach out because a lot of times you don't want to ask, what is it, what can I do for you, because they don't know what to tell you, but
Yeah.
you just offer, I'm bringing dinner tonight, what's a good time,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Somebody's, like you said, had a death, or somebody just had a newborn baby, or someone
Mhm.
just got out of the hospital. It's just good for us to kind of think about ways that we can help them continue to carry on as they go through those challenges.
Yeah. I
Just
always say,
this feel
oh,
love.
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, they can feel the love, through the
Yeah.
food. And yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I always say it's not always going to service the need, but it will service a need
Amen.
because we do
Amen.
need
That's
to
right.
eat.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
usually that's like the last thing people think about when anything
Yeah,
is going on, whether it's like,
yes,
like having a baby or a
yeah.
death or somebody's in the hospital. Usually, unfortunately, it's like negative things that are going on that people need help with
Hmm.
and whatnot. But yeah, that's
Hmm.
awesome. So, how is the kitchen boutique doing?
Oh, it's doing really well. It's doing
Good.
really well. I've been doing, pop-ups, getting, great response, just to kind of see what cities, we would do best in. And it's just been an overwhelming great response. Giving out the cold brew samples. Everybody just
Yeah.
loves it. Cold brew is on the rise. So
I know.
really, really loves that cold brew. But yeah, it's just been a tremendous, tremendous response. So
Yeah,
I'm
that
loving
was like I went my the dark roast, I always go cold brew. So when you
it.
gave
Yeah,
me that coffee, I was like, well, yeah, I got it from you. I was like, okay, we're doing cold brew. This is what's going down. So
yeah. It's so good. It's so good. And it's so funny. So I let Jackson have like a little sip of it. And he's like, Mommy, this tastes like chocolate.
it
So
does.
even he can see. I was like, oh my gosh, how he's picking up on it, because that one, it has a chocolate notes.
Yes, it's like a deep, sweet treat almost,
Yes,
you
yes,
know?
it is. It is.
It's like you wanna pour it over your ice cream.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Awesome. And then, so I was looking on there, and then you have a cookbook. You have a whole cookbook.
I have yeah, it's a smaller electronic cookbook. I
Yeah.
am which you can get when you subscribe on the blog. It's some deliciously healthy meals that I put together that are really great for people to try. And I'm also, working on getting something, in print as well. That's a long, it can be a long journey to get that going, but
Yeah.
it's definitely in the works.
Okay. So, with everything that you're doing, and you started this blog a long time ago for yourself, um, kind of where do you see Say Grace blog going? Where do you want it to go?
Yeah, so um, definitely I want it to be a space where people can come together, um, gather, lift one another up, be an encouragement, to women and men.
Mhm.
I just have an affinity for women. That's where my heart is. But just a space where people can feel and sense the love of the Lord
Yeah.
when they enter, so that when they leave differently. They live encouraged. They live inspired and ready to fulfill the call of God on their lives.
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
beautiful. Um, do you want to go full time with Say Grace blog?
Oh, I would love to. I would love to. I tell my job, all the time, like this is the best job I've ever had. Like I absolutely love this company. And we plan to retire from here, but only if, if once Say Grace takes legs, it's a different story, because then I'm working for myself, and who could pass that opportunity to be able to do that and love on
Yeah.
others at the same time. So
Right, right. And then you talked about open up a brick and mortar. So is that like a coffee shop and then your kitchen boutique? I
yes,
think that's what you
yep,
said.
it's called like a hybrid model, and I don't know if
Yeah.
you know, but there's a lot of coffee shops opening up with this hybrid model, where it's a barber shop in a coffee house, or
Mm.
it's an art museum in a coffee house. But we found out that more people will gather and patronize a spot for shopping if there's a coffee experience inside. And so they work hand in hand
Yeah.
together. Coffee is a big draw for people, and then once they see what other things you have, then they're shopping and telling others about it. So
Yeah.
it's a great hybrid model, I believe.
Yeah. I've always not a coffee shop, but I have this cinnamon roll recipe that I don't
Mm,
share with anybody because it's a front from a family friend. It's a starter from a family friend. And
yeah.
I was like, man, if I ever open up something like that, I'm putting antiques in there, you know? So that's so cool.
Yes. Yes. I love that.
There was one coffee shop, I don't know where it's at. I always think about this. You can literally pet cats while getting a cup of
Oh,
coffee.
I've seen, I can't remember what city I've seen. I'm a part of a coffee group on Facebook, and yeah,
How
I've
that's
seen
legal, I
that.
don't know, but I just like
Yeah, they figured it out some kind of way. I think the cats are on one side and the coffee's on the other, but
I was like, "Oh
yeah,
my gosh." I'm like, "That's so weird," but I'm like, "No, I totally do that."
yeah, yes.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. So, you pretty much covered everything that you're doing, but is there anything else that you wanna tell people about? Like, is there anything happening soon or, um, like, kitchen boutique? I don't know, whatever you wanna tell us.
Well, I will be at the Birmingham Farmers Market, which I am super excited about. Birmingham Farmers Market on, what is that, September 24th, and then again in October. So I'm super excited to meet that community and
Okay,
share our mission there as well. So that's what's coming up.
awesome. Um, oh, I do have another question. What is it like owning your own business?
Oh, well, definitely not 9 to 5. It's like
No.
it just never ends. There's always something you can be doing to improve your business. So you have to have a heart for it, and not be in it just strictly for the money. I mean, the money will come, but you want to have a love for what you're doing, and something that you love waking up every single morning to tackle. Um, that's how I feel that you should be if you're going to have your own business. For
Yeah.
sure, you got to have a love for it, and love the people that are going to patronize it, because without them, then you have no business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We were just talking about this before the call when the
mhm.
money comes.
Yes.
Because because it can feel like centuries before it ever arrives.
But the Lord sees us through.
Yes, he does. Yes, he
Yes.
does. I'm like, as I'm picking up sticks today, I'm like, I know you're gonna bless me. I know you're gonna
Amen.
bless everything, these people involved. I know it. But
Yes.
awesome. Well,
Glory.
the one question that I always ask on on this podcast is what is something you or multiple things, it doesn't matter, that you want to tell other women?
So I would encourage women to, of course, seek the Lord with finding out what is it that because he's called each and every one of us to do something. So what is that? And we find that out by, of course, spending time with him, getting before him, and just having him share with you what he desires for your life. It may not always be at the beginning of something you think that would be your desire, but when you find out what he has called you to do, and what where that's going to lead you, because anything that the Lord instructs and leads us to, it's always greater and exceedingly abundantly above anything that we could ask or think. And so I never thought, coffee, I thought, I was going to go and be a lawyer and a judge, and kind of dance. And I didn't share with you, but I'm also a dancer. And I just thought I was going to go to New York and go to Juilliard and just do, but his steps did not direct me. Of course, I still enjoy those things, but
Yeah.
his steps did not direct me in that way specifically. But I am just overjoyed with the direction that he's developed, and he seeks out for me to follow in the steps that he has written out. So he knows, the in from the beginning, and we just have to trust him that he knows best. And through it all, he gets all of the glory, and we get to love on the people that he has placed before us. So I'm thankful and grateful for that, and I would that would be what I would share for others.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you. Actually, I'm so mad that I forgot that because I read that in your bio a long time ago and I was like, oh my gosh, she does dancing. That's so cool. Isn't it
Yes,
like
I thought
ballroom
yeah,
dancing?
ballroom. And like I got, like, even in the Alvin Ailey school, like I was even um accepted into Ailey. And
Wow.
it just was not the plan. That's the plan that I had in my head, but it was just not. And I, like I said, I still enjoy those things, and he still gives me the desires of my heart when it comes to dancing. I get to cut a rug and do some things every now and then, so it's still joyful for me. But yeah, I love to dance for sure.
Well, you live right by me, so you're gonna have to give me some lessons or something because I love
Oh,
dancing too, but
that would be so fun.
my dancing is not that professional.
Oh, it's just all about having a good time and finding joy. Yeah.
Yes, finding joy.
Yeah.
That's so great. I love this. This was such a great conversation. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. That went by
Yes.
so
I
fast.
know, I know. I could sit and talk for forever. I have a feeling you're gonna be back though, because we gotta keep updated on this. So, let everyone know where they can find you. I'm gonna list it in the description box below, like the, you know.
Absolutely. So yes, you can find me at saygraceblog.com, and I'm also on all of the social media outlets. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. What else is there? YouTube, and it's all under Say Grace Blog is the handle.
Awesome. Okay. All right. And that'll be in the show notes below. But again, thank you so much, Felicia. It was so good to have you. And hope you have a great
Thank
day.
you so much. You as well. Thanks,
Yeah. We'll
Alexa.
see ya. I tell you guys, Felicia's personality just makes me just she just makes me want to go after things. She makes me want to get up and dance. She's just so much fun. I am so grateful that I can call her a friend. She lives right by me. She has came over my house a couple times to drop off gifts to me, and I'm so grateful for her. I'm so glad she's in my life. But anyways, I just wanted to give you a little highlight about some of the things that's going on with Felesha. So right now she is got a deal going on with her elderberry syrup, which is really great to have during this fall season. I have elderberry syrup myself that another friend made for me, and we have it on hand at all times to get us through these sick months. So definitely go. I will put a link below to go check out her elderberry syrup. Go ahead and order that from her. And also, she has a coffee cart featuring specialty coffees. I cannot say that for some reason, coming soon for all of her corporate, private, and pop up events. So stay tuned for that. I'm so excited for her little coffee shop that she's got going on. But, anyways, all the links will be below. Make sure you go check out her little kitchen boutique. I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you, she blessed me. She gave me a dough hook. Okay. Didn't even ask for it. She just gave it to me. She was like, "Girl, I'm going to give you one." And I'm like, "Okay, let's try this out." The best thing in my kitchen. I use it all the time. I need to talk about it more on my page because it's literally the best thing. If you don't have a dough hook, I'm probably saying it wrong. Sorry, Felicia. It's literally a wooden spoon, but it's circular with a hole in it. I don't know. We're going to have to I'm putting a link to it below because it is so amazing and you need it in your life. I promise it'll be the one and only dough hook spoon that you ever need in your entire life. So I'm so glad that you guys listen in. I hope you enjoyed Felicia as much as I did. I need to have her on the podcast again because her personality just lights up the entire room, and I she just adds so much light to this podcast. But thank you anyways for listening in, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.